Hi Michael, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Well, firstly, congratulations on Trishna,
Thank you.
and obviously it's an adaptation of Thomas Hardy's novel Tess of the D'Urbervilles, and like many writers of his time, it's very much a story about his ambivalence towards the Industrial Revolution. But your film, however, is set in modern day India. So, how did you go about finding the right location for your take on his story?
It wasn't really, it didn't happen that way around. It wasn't let's make a film of Tess and let's find a location. I was in India, I was in Rajasthan, uh, where about 10 years ago, looking for locations for another film, for a film called Code 46. And we did about a week's filming up in Rajasthan. And it was when I was there that it seemed to me a big good idea to relocate Hardy's novel to Rajasthan. So really, it was Rajasthan that gave me the idea for doing the adaptation, the modern adaptation test, because, like you say, because Hardy's writing about the changes, like his characters are kind of like set in a kind of a very traditional world, which is changing rapidly, and that's exactly what sort of is happening in Rajasthan as well. So it was that that kind of gave the idea for the adaptation.
So it's been a long time coming then, this particular story for you.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I say I can't remember exactly how many years. It was when we were doing Cover Six. I think it's about 10 years ago. And yeah, at the time, sort of we kind of wrote the sort of idea down, and I actually got to the point of sending our casting director to India to look for possible Trishnas, and she came back after about 3 weeks saying she hadn't found anyone, and then the idea sort of went away a bit. And then really, yeah, I'd worked with Riz before, so I kind of thought Riz would be great as the J character, and then I met Frida, and it was really like having thought, okay, well now we have two people to do this part, so we tried to get the film going again.
As you mentioned there, you shot some of Code 46 over in India. What was it like returning to India for production on Trishna?
Well, to be honest, I'd also because the Temperature was like a week in Rajasthan. Rajasthan wasn't that much of the film. Then I also did the interiors on A Mighty Heart. We did the exteriors in Pakistan, but the interiors we did in India, down in Pune and a little bit in Mumbai. So this was like the third time I went to India. But I mean, I have to say, like, this was by far the best experience. I think mainly, I mean, partly because we were working less crew and everything, all the kind of particular things, that go to making up a shoot went well. But I think also because this was, although we were in India before, neither of those films were really set in India. Whereas this film was like, was very much like, the starting point was being in Rajasthan, thinking this story will work well in this society, in this location, and these places. And so it was, an enjoyable experience because the film was kind of like, it was about how to make sense of this story in this particular world. And so all the things, that you saw around you that were interesting, you could kind of include in the film. Whereas before, when I went to India, it was a little bit like excluding, or India was just a sort of backdrop in a way, and that made it harder work.
Yeah, it's also your Trishna's also your third adaptation of a Thomas Hardy story after
Yeah.
Jude and The Claim. We've seen you adapt quite a few novels for the screen over the years. Do you have any plans at this moment, or interest at least in adapting any more novels?
Any more novels? Good question. I'm trying to think. I don't think so. I trying to think what we're working on. No, I don't think we're working on any more novels. I mean, yeah, I think for me, in relation to Hardy, what you say is absolutely right, but they all come out in different ways. Really. So for me, Jude and Tess were really the two. Jude and Trishna were the two that were kind of particularly like, this would be great to take this Hardy novel and make it into film. The Claim came in a different way. Really. The Claim, me and Frank, the writer, and Andrew, the producer, wanted to do something set in the West, and then it became about, so we wanted it to be like a kind of Irish Western, and then it became a kind of Irish gold rush story. And it was at that point Frank said, well, we could use the story from Mayor Casterbridge, and kind of that would be that kind of generational conflict in the Mayor Casterbridge would be great for gold rush kind of pioneers versus railway engineers. But it wasn't really like, it wasn't in that case. It wasn't let's make a film Mayor Casterbridge West set. It was more like we want to make a western. Let's borrow that story. So like with every film, the things come out different way, for different reasons.
And you've certainly been all over the place with, making these films, and I guess you could say you're a well-traveled filmmaker. And I guess that's reflected in the kinds of films that you make. I mean, as I said, you've adapted stories, and as we discussed, you're still making shorts. You've dabbled in documentaries, comedy, hard American noir, and you've seen your fair share of controversy with 9 songs. So clearly, your interests as far as cinema and storytelling and are very are varied, which is definitely, I think, interesting for audiences who have taken a shine to your work, because they never know what to expect. You never become complacent with a particular kind of film.
I think for me, I'm lucky that I've been able to kind of choose the films I want to make. It's most of the films um, that I've made have been stuff that we've developed, or certainly it's been projects that I kind of feel that I'm interested in that project, and that's the main motive for making the film. And so, I think like anyone, like most people, you're not interested in just one thing. Most people are interested in what's going on in the world around them. They're interested in their family. They're interested in their love life. They're interested in their work. They're interested in a whole range of things.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like I think I'm like everyone else in that respect. I'm interested in a whole bunch of different things. But for me, so therefore, where projects can, film projects, is just, what you want to make a film about is just what you're interested in. So sometimes it's what's going on in Pakistan. Sometimes it's two people making love. I think that's kind of reflects a normal kind of range of interests.
Yeah. I think although the films you've made are so varied, the one recurring theme, or at least one of the strongest recurring themes, is that you like to focus on relationships, and whether that's Frida Pinto and Riz in TRISHNA, or the chemistry between Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon in The Trip.
A different sort of chemistry.
Yeah.
Not a very sexual chemistry in The Trip. I don't think anyway.
No. And of course, you just finished filming this year, 7 Days, which is been 5 years in the making. And
yeah, that's what we're dubbing now. In fact,
oh, I see.
It's not called 7 Days anymore. Although it's that's what we're dubbing now, because we just finished. As you say, we finished filming sort of January, so we're just trying to dub it now. Which it's now called Here and There. Although we're not absolutely sure it's still going to be called that by the time we finish it. But it's because it was originally 7 days because we were going to make 7 films over 5 years, but we only got the money to make 1 film, so we had to change the name.
Oh, I see. Okay. And also this year you wrapped production on The King of Soho, which has a terrific cast and sees you working again with Steve Coogan in the leading role. What can you tell us about that film?
It was a nightmare to shoot. We were trying to shoot everything from sort of 1950s to 1990s Soho in London, in Soho mainly. And as you say, I made a lot of films abroad. It reminded me why trying to make a film in London, because everything was very hard work. It's like any big city, but I think particularly London, it's kind of hard work to film in, and especially something where you've got a lot of period stuff in the middle of Soho. It's very, very hard. So all that, it was a great cast. It's just lots of fun, and but the actual kind of process of trying to make it was quite tricky.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing it.